I think there is a feeling for folks that, you know, Jackson's a great place to live. There's fun things to do here. We live in a beautiful area and people don't have problems here. That's not true.
There's a lot of money in Teton County, a lot of beauty, and there's also a lot of poverty. There's a lot of families really struggling to make ends meet.
Their life experience is living meal to meal and wondering what hotel room they're going to live in next because the rent went up. That's realities of our community, and as the housing market continues to change and become more difficult, it's creating a different stressor that's becoming more prevalent in our community for families.
People might think, well, I've got problems living in the big city, I'll move here and it's all going to go away. Well, people's problems follow them wherever they go. I mean, people's personalities don't change because of where they live.
Teton Youth and Family Services, you don't have any idea what it does. It keeps kids out of, out of jail, out of the boys' school. It helps families find their way.
They are the people who you know that you can call at 2 in the morning and you've got a child who has been arrested or is in a state and level of crisis. And they are the people who will open the door and say, my goodness, yes, you're welcome here and how can we help you out? And they're just, they have immense hearts.
From headquarters in the Hirschfield Center in downtown Jackson, Teton Youth and Family Services provides such a wide range of family-oriented programs to serve the public that we are often mistaken for a government agency. Actually, we're a nonprofit 501c3 that has to raise money and fight for every dollar we need to provide what we've come to call a continuum of care for children and families in and around Jackson Hole.
A continuum of care really for TYFS starts with the Hirschfield Center, where we do prevention programs first. We really would love for nobody to need our residential services or more crisis-focused services.
Hirschfield Center is a child advocacy center. It provides forensic interviews for alleged cases of child abuse. It does family advocate program for families at risk of abuse to provide services to reduce that risk of abuse. And it provides also prevention programs for any kids in the community to help improve relationships with other kids.
Before there was a Hirschfield Center, there was no unified way of addressing kids who were the most at risk or kids who had been sexually abused.
So our primary mission is coordinating any sexual abuse or physical abuse allegations and providing the best services for the victim and the family. But thankfully, that's a very small part of our job.
Their leadership programs start when the kids are 10 years old. And so before my kids were even thinking about being wayward teenagers, they were able to utilize their leadership programs. Ton of fun. Get the kids out into the backcountry here, go hiking, go fishing, go canoeing, go, just really explore the Teton Valley.
Adjacent to the Hirschfield Center, Van Vleck House is where we begin to provide our more crisis-oriented services, both voluntary and involuntary.
Van Vleck House provides 3 different branches within the Van Vleck House. There's court diversion programs for first-time offenders going into circuit court. There's the crisis shelter, which is the Adams Canyon Crisis Shelter. That's short-term stay for kids in families that are having trouble with each other. It gives a short stay for the families to settle and to make a case plan of how they're going to improve their situation. And then the group home is for more long-term court-placed kids having emotional and behavioral difficulties.
The crisis shelter is kind of our point of entry for children in the community, and it's exactly what it sounds like. It's a facility for kids in crisis.
Local families in crisis have a place where kids can go, where they are supervised, where they can still attend high school, still get to other activities, but have a safe, contained environment.
A large majority of the clients we see are voluntarily placed by their parents, and generally those families, things are rough for many different reasons.
But it's interesting to have been a parent in the gamut from the Leadership Fund summer thing to when, my son's throwing his fist through a wall and I don't, what am I going to do, And so he's bigger than me. It's hard to instill a consequence with a kid that's bigger than you, and he's mad and pissed off, and kind of out of control. How are you going to deal with that?
We provide individual and family therapy, so we have 2 therapists on staff, and they do individual and family work with the kids.
It's important for people also to understand that those services are free.
As a parent and a single mother, when I don't have a lot of financial resources, I wouldn't have been able to do that. I wouldn't have been able to support that process appropriately. And this program allowed that to occur.
We're not in the business of fixing kids, I would say. We're in our role in the social services in Teton County is providing kids a safe place to be while they work on trying new things and finding their own experience. Kids learn a lot of life skills when they're here in the program. Little things like laundry and hygiene, taking care of your room, cleaning. Kids here have a night a week where they cook dinner for the group.
And a lot of times, unfortunately, if kids are in the group home, this is the most stable, loving and solid living scenario that they've ever had in their lives.
Van Vleck has been where kids could go, be safe, be nurtured, and avert the potential of risk of suicide.
We had the unfortunate incident in the very end of June last year of a student in the group home committing suicide, over and above and beyond our control and what all we'd done to prevent that, but it happened. We understandably were investigated on how that could happen and eventually cleared of being negligent or doing anything wrong. But that process took some time, and so for a period of time, our group home facility was not open. The number of juveniles showing up, presenting in the emergency room at the hospital went from usually having like 3 or 4 in the course of the year to there were 16 young people that showed up in the ER between July 1st and midway through November.
There was nothing in between sending a dangerous suicidal kid back home with mom and dad or sending them to jail. And it put families in a really difficult and unenviable position in terms of making a decision to drive your child down to Salt Lake City or out to Casper to put them in a hospital, as opposed to having them 5 minutes away in a group home or a crisis shelter. So it really highlighted the need. And we always knew it was there, but when it was not there, it certainly magnified the need for it.
17 miles outside Jackson is where we treat our toughest cases. Young men who've committed crimes are sent here for up to a year. Their offenses are bad enough to be removed from society, but not necessarily bad enough for the state prison for boys, known as the Wyoming Boys School. That's where they can end up if they can't cut it here.
Well, I was the district court judge in Teton County and 2 other counties for 15 plus years. And when I was sitting on the bench, I saw how effective the programs at Teton Youth and Family Services, how effective they were. And especially Red Top Meadows, the residential treatment center for young boys.
We have 4 pieces: wilderness, school, the milieu, which is a fancy word, I didn't know what it meant until I started working here, that just means daily living, and then therapy. So they do individual therapy, group therapy, several times a week.
We are accredited by, it's called Advanced Ed, but basically Wyoming Department of Education, and our credits are transferable. We are supposed to be delivering comparable instruction, and so we use the same standards.
There's plenty of kids that we put in an immense amount of effort to ensure that they get a high school diploma. And while that might be a given for a lot of the population, it's not for others.
Some of these kids just never learned some of the basic things and how to get along in life.
The wilderness part is so much a part of Red Top's culture. Wilderness is valuable. I think it's one of the biggest catalysts of change here at Red Top. There's a million teachable moments in the wilderness. For lots of programs, you walk around in a circle and you do the same thing over and over. A kid that comes and participates in all the wilderness programs at Red Top ends up winter camping and telemark skiing right here in the Snake River Mountains, ends up going to southern Utah and backpacking through like the Escalante desert landscape, ends up walking 100 miles through the Wyoming or the Salt River Range or the west slope of the Tetons, and then ends up doing a week-long service project, adopt a trail with the Forest Service here in our local mountains. The other part that it really affects is being part of something, being part of a group, to where I'm carrying breakfast and you're carrying the stove, and I need you, you need me, and if I don't do my part, then you're affected. If you don't do yours, I'm affected. So those dynamics in a small group in the mountains for 24 days exposes the holes and highlights the strengths, and for a lot of kids it's the first time probably feeling like they're part of something. You know, lots of kids maybe get that in like a football team or theater or something. These kids, a lot of times that's the first time they've participated in that.
Every kid has a unique set of needs and a unique set of talents and skills and strengths, so you have to play to that and kind of get a little different recipe for each kid.
The thing that amazed me is the low rate of recidivism. I would see a young man who was in deep trouble, and after being in Van Vleck House for 4 or 5 or 6 months, if necessary, or Red Top for a year, I would never see the kid again.
I've had so many kids call me up later and go, "That's what you guys were talking about. Now I understand that." You know, they've made something out of their lives because of that.
A 14-year-old kid who hasn't had much opportunity and has had a lot of things go the hard way is going to have a different life because of the work that people did here and because of the work that happens here.
The people here care. They will move mountains to provide a family the resources that they need. And it's not, that's priceless. That is a gift. That's a gift. When you're in need and when you are so concerned about your child and you don't know black from white, they provide help and answers and support, and they care and they're real, and that's so heartening. That gives you peace of mind, that gives you hope for a future for your kids and for yourself. Hope, I mean, that's an amazing gift, and this group provides that in spades.
Somebody's needing help who maybe has heard of us but not sure where or how to get involved. Simplest thing I'd say is pick up the phone and call us, okay? You can call Red Top Meadows at 733-9098. You can call the Van Vleck House at 733-6440. And whoever you get on the phone will help you find the right person to talk to and help direct you where you can get the help. The vast majority of the programs that we offer are free to the public, and if there is some charge available, we're certainly always flexible. We will never deny service to somebody over a cost or a payment. And so call us, we'll find you the help you need.